breathing, ingesting, eating, and the food on the floor, drinking in our water. But all these kids, I guarantee you, if you ask their mother, how many vaccines have they had? They'd be like, they're up to date. Of course, I'm compliant. And they need to go to school. You know, they need to be functioning part in the society. And it's like, oh, so we have a regiment of 64 vaccines that we're going to distribute to children that are children under 12. I think it's up to 70 something now. We're going to distribute this. And like, I think the nonverbal autism rate is up by like 1,000%, some wacky shit like that she says. But this is a gift. This is a gift. Yeah. And these people, these kids that are trapped inside their bodies, because they actually explain in this show, it's brilliant. There's a disconnect, a frequency disconnect between this kid's body and this kid's mind. And sometimes they'll use a tuning fork to kind of get that a little closer together, and then they'll be able to communicate. They do something called spelling, where they like assisted spelling. They're touching their arm and they're able to press letters on a board, which is again highly skeptical. Some people don't believe it. I believe it, but to me, it looks like an MK Ultra experiment, worldwide, or at least America, nationwide, and the effects are profound. And now what we're finding is these kids have telepathy because, well, they've been trapped inside their body. They've been caused, trauma has been caused on them. And now they're using these innate abilities, which I think we already have, but the ability to speak out loud and prophesy is more powerful than being trapped in your own brain or being able to read thoughts. I think that's like pre-existent rudimentary shit. That's stuff from the Tower of Babel, and it was expelled from us, which kind of leads into the pyramid stuff. But go ahead, David. I see you're ready to jump in here,
dude. I mean, this is the question. You said what's the point that I'm making, Clint? I'm not. I'm simply posing a question, and that question is, if we have like MK Ultra, right, which is a trauma-based mind control program, the idea is to create a dissociative identity disorder, and what happens is a person then becomes programmable to whatever extent, or you have the Montauk Project, which is through trauma you can awaken latent psychic abilities in children, right? This is where you get Stranger Things. It was based off of that. So we have this like trauma-based identity disassociation disorder that's going on. And that gives you access to a bunch of weird aspects of child psychology. Well, that seems like the same thing. You traumatize them by inoculating them, destroying them as they're developing, and then trapping them in their own fucking body, right? And then what do you get? You have to. If your body is not going to do what you want it to do, you have to disassociate. You have to disassociate. And when you disassociate, what happens? Latent psychic abilities expose themselves.
Okay.
So there is something really fucking nefarious here. And then to go the extra step and say that this is an advancement in human psychology or the next step in evolution, when from where I'm sitting, it looks like a result of trauma. It looks like you fucking poisoned these kids and they had absolutely no other recourse but to withdraw and go within themselves.
Now let's take the next step. Elon Musk Neuralink files to trademark telepathy.
Boom.
Yeah, the brain implant company co-founded by Elon is moving forward to trademark the product names including telepathy and telekinesis. This is all just like organically happening as Joe Rogan brings up the telepathy tapes, blows it up, and now this is in the forefront of our mind, just as they're about to roll out this Neuralink shit.
You know what else Rogan is blowing up? Sensory deprivation tanks. That's John C. Lilly jerking off dolphins, using psychedelics to commute psychically with them. The MK Ultra program takes a big interest in that. Well, for some reason, Rogan blows it up. What else does he blow up? Psychedelics, which are the cornerstone of the MK Ultra projects, right? Whenever they're doing this, they're kidnapping Johns from whorehouses and dosing them with LSD. You have the sort of trope of, what would you call it? Clockwork Orange, where they're sitting you in the chair and they're stretching your eyes open. They're hitting you with a dump of some sort of psychedelic, and they're exposing you to trauma-based mind control programming, right?
Even bigger than this. These people go as in episode 4, she goes as far as to even mention the name of the guy, the godfather of these experimentations. And she does it through like some of his more innocuous creations or patents. She's talking about Lucille Ball having dental implant surgery and picking up radio waves because telekinesis is possibly linked to radio waves. And she goes, by the way, in the 50s, some guy, Andrija Puharich, developed this radio wave technology where they would put that in as a dental implant into your mouth, and it was used at the time as a like a voice to skull technology, like the voice of God, and it was driving people crazy. It's partially where you get the term tinfoil hat, because guys were wrapping their heads in tinfoil so that way
signal
to stop the fucking signal. And this lady Kai Dickens just happens to stumble upon it and briefly touch on it. She says the guy's name and she goes, anyway, let's talk about these fucking retarded kids. And I'm like, no.
By the way, the guy who was fundamental in the beginnings of the MK Ultra project. I mean, he was his technology, his research, his studying.
You mean Puharich?
Andrzej Puharich, yeah. We're doing Andrija. We've been doing a deep dive on him because he's connected to so many things, but it's too many things to unpack here. Just zoom out, right? We're talking about zooming out and seeing that 1,000-foot overview. Why are we celebrating this as if these kids are not disassociating and are not?
So you're arguing that they're victims.
It's not just that they're victims. It's that telepathy is not a fucking advantage. I mean, it's an advantage that we probably all can do, but I think it's been removed from us. And you could make a bunch of speculations. It's the shit that we eat, the crap that they spray in the air, the MK Ultra programming that we're exposed to every day. I think
it would just be a natural consequence of evolution that once you're able to speak verbally, you don't need to deal with the chaos of hearing everybody.
That depends on how you look at the ability to speak verbally.
Well, we also have I mean, I'm sure David shares this with his wife, but with my wife, many times I'll be thinking a song in my head and then she just starts singing it at the exact spot. And this is not like I know this is I don't know, circumstantial evidence or like I said this, but this happened all the time. And I'm sure that people will testify and say, yeah, me too. Me and my wife do the same thing. It's like I am sending her a signal through my brain and she's hearing it and picking it up. This is an ability that we do have. It's latent. It's something that we don't use as much. But the fact remains that these kids, it's not a blessing. It's something that everybody has. They are just trapped in their bodies. They've been experimented on.
I understand the rationale. I'm just
there's one.
I'm just saying to what end.
All right. Well, I'm not sure to what end, and I can't speculate on that. I can only raise the bar that this is very strange.
We've got Elon Musk about to patent telekinesis. To what end? I'm not really sure where they're going to end with this, but it looks like they are studying this, and they were studying this in small scale, and now they're like, you know what? Fucking roll it out in the population, and we'll see how many kids we can get like this. And then I'm sure that they're watching these kids.
They got millions of them now. It's fucking tragic in that regard. I do want to defend float tanks as someone who's done.
No, they're great. No,
it does it dozens of times. Look, I just want to make the point because oftentimes, people say, well, Rogan's bringing up, actually, you have said this to me multiple times, that Rogan's bringing up psychedelics and he's bringing up float tanks. It's like, I've done psychedelics, I've done float tanks, I've had really positive experiences from both of them. I think that Rogan has had the same, and therefore he's told his audience about it. I don't think it's anything necessarily nefarious. However, I do think that there is real arguments to be had that psychedelics, particularly the ayahuasca version, which I have never tried, could have really deleterious consequences for certain people that consume it. And honestly, with mushrooms too. I mean, if you're schizophrenic, like there's a real danger there. Same with marijuana. So broad advice to a broad audience, especially an audience of his size, can be dangerous, no doubt. But I just wanted to say, if anybody out there hasn't tried a float tank, like you don't have to get fucking baked out of your mind to go and do it. Like it is a very interesting experience. I think to be alone with your mind for, I think the longest one I ever did was 2 hours. It's it is kind of psychedelic. It's very interesting.
I would just say that just so you have an idea of where I'm coming from, and this is really schizo shit, especially for dangerous. So if you guys want this, you come on over to NDS. But I look at this. There's two details about this that bolster this concern that I have. One is there has been a never-ending chain now of fucking white people going to the Amazon to drink ayahuasca. My concern is not with the self-exploration or anything like that, or maybe even the aspects of curing PTSD or anxiety and all the things that are allegedly going on with this. Mine is you reliably communicate with entities. This is something that they all say. You go to ayahuasca, you fucking communicate with Mother Ayahuasca, you do DMT, you see the elves, you see the jesters. I worry about the nature of what those entities are. I think they're very real. I don't find them to be a hallucination in any way, shape, or form. And I think they're very old, they're very ancient, and they're very deceitful. The other thing is, I think that to speak is a gift.
That's how participants even describe it. They talk about the machine elves and how they're these like playful little gremlins that
kind of assholes too. They'll give you the finger and shit.
Yeah, but they'll also like lie to you and just very very interesting.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I believe our ability to speak is a gift. I think it's prophecy. Using the word, it's the same way that God used the word to create the universe. I think speaking out loud is very powerful, and I think one of the things that we have misconstrued is that every time somebody has an alien encounter, every time somebody has a spiritual encounter, every time somebody bumps into a fucking cryptid or something, Bigfoot spoke to me telepathically, the alien spoke to me telepathically, the demon spoke to me telepathically. I don't think it is a strength.
Power.
I think it's a weakness. I think they cannot prophesy. They cannot use the word. They can't speak out loud.
Just to tie that together, I do think it's interesting that like this, when I was doing the show with Luke, this master, very famous, very high level hypnotist came in, and he's responsible for training Jake Paul's like mental framework. Like that's
you had him
that's
in studio.
Yeah, we had him in studio, and he hypnotized me, and I just played along because we were on the show and I wanted to be a good sport about it. But like, I wasn't even fucking close to being hypnotized, and like, it's just I've always found, and I had another opportunity when I was in high school, like right after graduation, we had this party in our auditorium, and they had a hypnotist come in, and I shit you not, like a bunch of people got on stage. I immediately was like, he tried to pick up my arm, it didn't drop, and he's like, all right, get off the fucking stage, you're not hypnotized. But my buddy Steve, I'll leave his last name out, he got so fucking hypnotized that this dude like got a boner and was like gyrating and shit because he told him that this girl was interested in him, and Steve was gone. Like he wasn't even fucking there. And he was not acting. It was unbelievable. And I just think it's really interesting, like who is conducive to hypnotism and who isn't. And I've never wanted to go down the path of like, oh, I'm so strong minded I can't be hypnotized. Like maybe I'm just fucking neurotic and that's why I can't be hypnotized. But I do think it's interesting how that ties together with like who's manipulatable through the media and who's not. And I think there might be a correlation there.
I think you and I and Top and a bunch of other people, we look at like, it's like if they're telling you a story on legacy media about some big event, do you sit back and go, I fucking like bullshit? You're looking for the lie. You're searching your mind for like previous information that doesn't jive with this.
Are you cross-referencing with the existing database in your mind, or do you even have one? And I think most people don't have one.
If you're engaging in that cross-referencing and you're looking at things skeptically, I don't think you can, because as soon as you start telling me like, I'm going to count to 3 and you're going to be, by the time that phrase is done, I'm going, fuck you. No, I'm not. Like, I don't,
here's the weird thing though. Like when I was in high school, I basically was like not trying. I tried hard with this guy because everyone was saying he's so high level. He's helped people quit smoking and do this and do that, and they lose weight, and they and fucking Jake Paul, he's beating up professional fighters. Like maybe this guy's fucking the real deal. And I really wanted it to work, and it just fucking didn't work at all.
What's his name? Tyson's coach hypnotized him when he was a kid.
Oh God, his
Cosmato.
name.
I'm fucking saying. I had like
Customato.
Customato. I had a sound in my head, but I couldn't fucking enunciate it. Yeah, I think there is a big correlation between suggestibility or hypnotizability is kind of like, I fucking think it's the same thing, and whether or not you're going to fall for the propaganda machine, So I just
Seems
to bring it back
to
to that whole telepathy tapes thing. I know I like Rogan. I've been a fan of his since 2009. I was listening for so fucking long, and I could even attribute much of the improvements in my life to Joe Rogan.
Me too.
In fact, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in this chair in front of a camera if it wasn't for Joe Rogan.
Me too.
Got a soft spot for him. Love him a lot.
Me too.
But I look at that and I go, why the fuck is like John C. Lilly and the sensory deprivation tanks were huge. It was a huge breakthrough for the MK Ultra program. And obviously psychedelics are a huge component to it. And then just to take the telepathy tapes from relative obscurity to #1 in podcasting overnight, then it knocked him out of the #1 spot. And now I'm looking at the telepathy tapes as like potentially a pharmaceutical mashup of the vaccine schedule and the MK Ultra program, and I'm going, that's not fucking good. And then just to see the way that it's received once again, where it's like, this may well be the next step in human evolution. I know these fucking kids are fucked.
It's an idea whose time has come. That's all that I see from the telepathy tapes. Now, whether Kai Dickens is aware and she's an active participant in creating this,
probably not.
Probably, who knows? Who really knows? But what I do know is that this is being presented to us in this time frame, in this period, for whatever reason. And
while this motherfucker's
like,
making a patent on telepathy for Neuralink.
It looks like again. So we've had MK Ultra where they're just drugging the Johns in the whorehouses, and they're like, "Oh, we figured out what we needed, and we stopped it." No, we didn't. Then they did the fucking their vaccine schedule. 16 wasn't enough for us. They just got autists that were good on the internet that would do podcasts. So they were like, "Let's dial it up to 72." And now that seems to be like 64 to 72 seems to be that like really nice mark where they're getting what they want from us. Or they're getting the results that they want from these children because you have this population.
That's a super interesting theory. I mean, like, it's interesting. I don't
have an endpoint for the theory.
There is no endpoint,
like,
but
that's fucking weird.
What it looks like to me is like the reason we're getting this information that the information that we're getting now is like, oh shit, telekinesis for autistic kids. Like, how cool is that? We're getting that because we're at the end of the experimentation. They've done their experiments. They figured out what they needed to know. We have our John C. Lilly float tanks. We have our kids communicating telepathically with their parents, and we're doing it on scale. They figured something out about the human condition, and now we're just all privy to it.
Well,